Good evening and praise God once again. It's such a wonderful day, such a wonderful moment for we, the youths. And it's a pleasure to have you this Friday, the 24th of November 2023 on Youth's Let's Talk Show. And it's such a pleasure also that God has really blessed. As you know, I have just been looking back and I was realizing that today's guest is the second mom we are having on this show. I just realized that so many a times, such a moment, mothers are busy cooking for their families, and therefore being found is such a... So, welcome to Youth Let's Talk Show. Allow me welcome our guest. She will introduce herself. Then I will be coming back to introduce the topic of the day. Make this show as interactive as possible by sending in any of your questions, concerns, or comments to our SMS line, which is 0718442578. And I know we are going to be blessed together. Welcome, Mom.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the clinical officer by profession. I work for an organization called USAID Dumisha Afya, and I oversee HIV services in Bungoma County, Kimilili Sub-County. I'm also a focal person handling agendas and other small children, and I'm happy to be in this show.
Wow. Welcome so much. We are happy to have you on this show.
Thank
and
you.
I know you are going to be very instrumental even to the current generation this particular moment. And tonight we want to look at such an issue that is really eating us, and we want to look at a healthy generation. You know, people are always walking around and are wondering, nowadays we have weird diseases. People are wondering, are these the last days? And everybody is just like, you realize that just a young girl is having some funny diseases and they wonder what is wrong. And therefore tonight we are very lucky to have our mom with us here. She is also a servant of God, for your information. And therefore I know that she will handle the issue professionally and even spiritually, and we are going to be edified. Now, even when we are talking about a healthy generation, from the perspective of a health practitioner, how healthy is this generation as we compare it to maybe our grandparents?
Thank you for that question. When I look at, if I want to talk about how healthy this generation is, I want to look at it in a different perspective, looking at how we are behaving currently compared to the past. And I'd like to look at it in the form of our health-seeking behavior currently, and also the normal issues that we go through on a daily basis. For instance, if you look at food, if you just want to compare at a glance the food that you are currently consuming compared to the past, what our grandmothers used to take, there's a very big difference. You find currently we are running to fast foods. We are running to processed foods. We want very fast foods that you can just microwave. We can just fry very fast using a lot of fat. And it's really a challenge because it comes with a lot of health impact on that. Also, the kind of drinks that we take, we cannot compare with the past, what our grandparents used to take. We rush for drinks. We have a lot of carbonated drinks in the market. We have a lot of fast foods, foods that are already prepared. Because as youths, I think everything we want, it's like pap, everything is just fast like that.
Generation.
Exactly. And so that comes with a lot of challenge. When we come to an issue like exercises, when we look at our generation and the generation past, I can say we've really lost track on our exercises as a generation. Most of the time we are just sedentary. We are not so mobile compared to the past. In the past, we really used to till the land. We really used to work. We really used to walk long distances. Now we have motorcycles that are on board. When you want to rush to dinner, you want to rush somewhere, you're just taking a motorcycle and pop, you are there. So exercises we are also lacking as a generation. We also have risky undertakings. For the adolescents, for the teenagers, there are so many things that we do that are really risking in themselves. We have something like most of us are really engaged into swimming. We have teenagers who even hire boda. You want to learn how to drive, how to cycle, but you don't want to go to a driving school. You want a shortcut, so you can hire a motorcycle. You pay maybe the owner and you go for a ride without knowing the rules of the road, without knowing how to use it properly. It puts ourselves in a lot of risk. We also go for retreats. We've seen a lot of teenagers when they go out, actually, let's say for a function, they're fond of taking photos. You want to take a photo near a waterfall, near a lake, near a river, risking your life. So it's really becoming a challenge compared to the past generation. Currently, finally, as I finish on that, we are really much exposed to so many things. Something like a phone, which has a lot of radiation. We are exposed to the phones. Most of us like sleeping, putting our phones under our pillows. It is an exposure on its own. We take a lot of refrigerated foods. We take a lot of microwaved foods, hair dryers. All our lives involves exposure to radiation, which is a risk compared to the past. So in a nutshell, what I can say, our generation is not healthy. When we look at all those things together, we cannot really compare to the past on what used to happen.
Wow.
Thank you.
Wow. It is really an eye-opener, a serious eye-opener. And we realize that even as a parent, you are busy, and therefore these are the things we just allow. If it's a phone, I leave it with my child. It becomes the caretaker of my child, and may God really help us. And maybe just on the same note, we realize that now in the current generation, we have so many health facilities. We have doctors who have opened their own clinics. We have dispensaries. We have hospitals, big ones up to even level 5, level 6. But yet when we compare with the past, where they could have, maybe like you walk for a very long distance before you can get a healthy facility. Yet when you ask our elderly people, they will tell you, like, in the past, like, morning was such easier because there are very few deaths occurring. Now, bearing in mind that at the moment we are having more health facilities, but now, like, the death rate is so high. What is the missing link?
I'd say the missing link, I think it's our health-seeking behavior. We really want everything very fast, and most of the time you talk to people as, why don't you go to the hospital? They'll complain of the long queues at the hospital. They'll complain of the long procedures at the facility level. But I think we have a challenge with health-seeking behavior. We really want to procure over-counter drugs. You have a headache, you want to rush and get a Maramoja, get paracetamol at a chemist, without knowing that it is important to go for diagnosis, just to find out what is ailing you. So I'd say the missing link is our health-seeking behavior, which really we need to look at it. If I'm ailing, I'd prefer go and queue at the facility and know what is ailing me, other than just taking a shortcut and get drugs over the counter. I'll feel better for some time, but maybe it may be a bigger problem that may need to be relooked at.
And so, are there any ways we can actually improve on this?
Yes, there are so many ways on how we can improve on this. As you said correctly, now we have so many hospitals. Basically, in every ward we have a dispensary, we have a health center, we have a referral facility, and there are healthcare workers there. What I know, if something cannot be done, if a diagnosis cannot be done at a dispensary level, you'll be referred to a health center or even to a level 4 hospital. So what I want to tell this generation, let us improve on our health-seeking behavior. When you have a problem, speak out and get help from a facility. Let's stop going to clinics. Clinics are not bad, but let's stop taking shortcuts, because shortcuts will not help us. And then I'm also looking at, we have an insurance scheme Because you may tell people to go to the facility, some of them will tell you, I don't have money, I'm not prepared, I cannot pay for an investigation. But we have a health insurance system, the NHIF. For our teenagers who are in school, I know we have an insurance scheme that is covering them, so long as you are in the NEMIS system. And also our adolescents who are going to college, I believe you can be covered as long as you prove you are in college. There is an insurance cover for that. So we should not fear going to the hospital. We should not fear seeking treatment whenever we are sick. And it is important to go for checkup. Target to be having a checkup at least once in a year. That is the minimum. Yeah, if you can afford to do that, just to check how your pressure is, how your sugar level is, check for HIV status. It is very, very important for us.
To ensure that one happens. You know, sometimes you interact with a person and you're like, and someone is like, I'm just going to hospital and I'm not sick. You want them to discover an ailment that will give me pressure and I die.
Exactly.
So people will be like, if I don't go to hospital, I'll not know what is eating me up and I'll
be okay.
Wow. I don't know if you are one of the victims who, even when you just feel some joints, some headache, you'll say, let me go and buy a L. This one looks like malaria. Are you a victim of the same? You have a headache and you rush for Maramoja or Soramoja. Today we have such a motherly advice that it is very, very wise. We just get to a health facility and we will be sorted.
Yes.
And now there is maybe to another concern. There is this, can I call it a monster called cancer. Once it is just mentioned, it sends chills to the families, it sends chills to people, maybe because they have witnessed maybe a cancer patient, maybe the financial dent that the family got themselves in, maybe the pain they saw this person go through. And now the question is, are there ways in which we can minimize the cancer cases in this generation?
Thank you for that question. It is really coming in timely when we are seeing a lot of cancers coming up. Even for the generation that had never experienced cancer cases, the teenagers, it is something that used to be known as a disease of the old. Yes, a disease of specific people. Even young girls, young boys, as young as 14, 15, they are suffering from cancer. And it is a concern, and my thinking and in my view, the only way to prevent cancers is to go for a checkup. The only challenge with cancers, by the time you start seeing symptoms manifesting, that disease has reached an advanced stage. Initially, you will not feel like you have a problem. Initially, you'll be okay, you'll be moving, you'll be mobile. By the time now you start experiencing pain, you start experiencing vaginal discharge, blood, in cases of cancer of the cervix. You start experiencing difficulty in swallowing, in cases of cancer of the esophagus, throat cancer. You feel like that is when you go now to the hospital, you seek treatment, and by that time, the cancer has really spread, it has really reached an advanced stage. My advice to our viewers, as I had said before, it is important to be going for checkup. For instance, you have painful swallowing, or you have hyperacidity. Every time you eat, you get like you have hyperacidity. Most of us Kenyans, we have a tendency of diagnosing ourselves. You get hyperacidity, you say, mi niko na ulcers. I feel like I have ulcers. So if I take this, I feel bad. I think I have ulcers. I have this headache. I think I have malaria, like the way you've said. I have abdominal pains. I think I took something wrong. If I just rush for Flagyl, I'll be okay. So once you're seeking over-the-counter medication, once, twice, thrice, it must raise an alarm that something is not right. And that's why I'm saying it is important to seek treatment, to seek diagnosis. For some cancers like breast cancer, throat cancer, cancer of the esophagus, cervical cancer, there are cancers that can be managed when they are detected early. And for something like cancer of the cervix, I really talk about it, and breast cancer, they're among the #1 killer cancers in our women. You can go for early checkup. You can do screening, screening for cervical cancer. It is happening in our hospitals. It is free of charge. Most of our people, our youths, will feel like, how can I go just to the hospital and expose myself? So and so will see me, they know me. I mean, that and your health, which is more important.
Actually.
You'd rather see me, but I'm getting a service. I'm getting a surety that I'm okay. And if I have a problem, it can be detected early. So when you have a problem that is chronic, kindly seek help. Seek diagnosis early. We have these small clinics that we have that cannot really offer a diagnosis. So it is important to visit a facility that is well known. If it is a private facility, it is well known. If it is a public facility, most of them actually, even as low as a dispensary level, they are able to screen for some cancers. And where they'll not be able, they'll refer you for further diagnosis and further evaluation. So what I'll say, to stop the cancers, let us screen, let us prevent other than treat. And we can only prevent by screening and seeking medical attention as soon as possible. Yes.
Now, you know, you have talked about going for screening and this early diagnosis.
Yes.
And a viewer is concerned and say that sometimes you get several cases of misdiagnosis. You realize that maybe a health practitioner is working on or treating a certain disease, a certain ailment, when probably maybe the underlying condition may be
something
cancer,
different,
or
true.
it is something different. And now he is asking that how for our health facilities.
I'd say diagnosis is accurate, but you know, most of the things are done by machines, are done by reagents. Reagents cannot be 100%. And again, it depends with the expertise of the person who is doing the diagnosis. So it may differ with different people, but I'd say we have healthcare workers who are well trained. You can have 1 or 2 cases of misdiagnosis. And as a person, it is your responsibility to take on or to go back to the facility and report. So what I can say, it is important to seek a second opinion. It is just important to seek early diagnosis. Cases of misdiagnosis are there because people run to clinics, people run to chemists, and you know, they come and tell you nakuanga na ulcers. Nikikula chakula fulani huwa nasikia roho inachomeka and all that. You know, when you've already diagnosed yourself. Yeah, so what you're asking for is Actols, what you're asking for is omeprazole for ulcers. So you'll continue like that, kumbe it is something different that is eating you. Yeah, so
it's just prudent, you just explain the way you are feeling, leave it to the health practitioner to diagnosis.
Exactly, exactly.
Yes, avoid giving leads to your health practitioner that I am always having this and this. Explain yourself the way you are. And another concern is that there are so many statements in the streets concerning cancer. For example, you'll be told that some people, maybe genetically, they have higher chances of getting cancer. You'll be told that, oh, you eat a lot of wheat, maybe it causes cancer. How true are these statements?
I'd say there's a lot of, we call them myths, we call them misconceptions out there. But what I know with the blood grouping, there's some researches that have been done, and they are done to a group of people with a certain blood group. We have like blood group O, we are comparing with blood group A or AB. So some of the researchers have shown people with blood group A, people with blood group AB are susceptible. They can easily get this and this. They can easily get such cancers. People with blood group B are less likely to get this, or even when it develops, it will be a bit slower. That is based on a research. And remember, a research is done to a certain population. It is not generalized. So we cannot generalize and say, if I'm blood group O, I cannot get cancer. We cannot generalize and say that. We cannot generalize and say, if I'm blood group A, then I'm likely to get cancer. No, there are other predisposing factors to cancers. Actually, all the cancers have predisposing factors. And as we speak right now, most of the cancers do not have a causative agent. We do not know what causes such cancers. Research is still ongoing. Maybe just for cancer of the cervix is what has been known. We know that it is caused by human papillomavirus. That is, men are the carriers, and then they are able to transmit it to women, to our girls, during sexual intercourse. But for the other many cancers, we do not know what causes it, or what causes them. It has also been linked. Some cancers are genetic. They follow a familial line, like cancer of the breast. And as I'm saying, those are just few researches that have been done. So we cannot conclude and say if I'm blood group this or this, I'm likely to, I have higher chances. Those are just few researches that were done. But again, we cannot generalize. Because even if we generalize, we are still seeing even these other people with blood group all getting such and such cancers. For issues to do with gluten, I know most people fear gluten. Even nowadays, most ladies do not take chapatis, our favorite meals. Yeah, we don't want to take bread, we don't want to take mandazis. Gluten is a protein that is found in wheat products. And when it is combined, it can become harmful to the body by causing the body to react to it. So it can predispose someone to an autoimmune disease. But it is not confirmed universally. As I said, researches have been done. So again, it is just in combination that it becomes harmful. So people have really tend to get away, avoid gluten by all means. And remember, we've been taking gluten all along. I'm at my age now, I've been taking bread, I've been taking chapati. So what I can say, yes, it is known to be, when it combines with other organisms, it can be harmful to the body. But again, we cannot really generalize, because when you follow that, it will reach a point we will not have any option to eat. We will not have any option. Even the fruits that you are told to eat and the vegetables, it will reach a point we will be told, now this one you should not take because it will do this, it will do this. Yes. And then in the long run, it's like we have nothing to eat. We have nothing to eat. We cannot be healthy again. Yeah. So my take is just, whatever you take it in moderation. Take it in moderation. And as healthy as we are always told, increase your fruit content, increase your vegetable content, reduce on your starch, reduce on bad fats that you are using in your diet, and you'll be good and well and good to go. So it's just taking in manageable levels. Taking in manageable levels. As you observe the kind of fats you are using, how you are preparing your meals, how clean, how healthy are your meals. Yes. Wow. I know you are getting something new. I know the myths that have surrounded some of these diseases. This evening, this night, you are really being helped. And we are getting to a very short break. I know you have questions over there. Just keep them coming. We will be handling them even as we continue. Our SMS line still remains 0718442578. And I know we are going to learn more and more. Stay tuned. We will be right back.
Abraham, Lord, take now your son and go to the land of Moriah, and there offer him.
The Lord came to me last night. I must go to Moriah and make a sacrifice to him there. Isaac and I will go alone.
Why, Isaac?
Because the Lord commands it.
Make sure no harm comes to our son. The road is a dangerous place, Abraham.
The Lord has set us on this path. He will guide us.
This road belongs to Abimelech, king of Pelisath.
I know who owns this road. I have given your king plenty of tributes.
What is your name, old man?
Abraham.
Why go all this way? Go through all this effort?
He has us do this in remembrance that death is the penalty for sin.
You believe that?
Jajoba Events is a company dealing with event management, live recording studio, and sound solutions. For quality and professional sounds, call us on 0713485587 or visit our offices at Balozi House along Kemptize Road in Webuye Town.
Mara nyingi kuna mbegu ambayo wenyewe tunanunua kwa duka.
Utapata kwamba wakulima wanaweza iga hii mfumo ili chakula chao kisije kikawaishia vile kilivyokuwa kinaishia pale mwanzo.
The lifestyle of a worshipper is a lifestyle of sacrifice, where you live to please God. Moyo wa sifa huomba na moyo wa ibada huheshimu kwa dhati. God is interested in restoring back his plans in your life.
Upitapo kwenye moto, kwenye maji mengi hautagarigishwa, kwenye moto hautateketea, wala miali haitakuunguza, kwa sababu niko nawe.
Kuna mipango mizuri ambayo Mungu ako nayo kwa ajili yetu. Hatuishi tu kwa sababu tumepatikana tunaishi, ila ni kwamba Mungu ana mipango mizuri kabisa na maisha yetu. Inabidi mimi niwe mtu wa kuzama katika ukumbi wa maombi, ndipoza nikaweze kuzalisha ibada inayofaa. Bwana ni mwaminifu ya kwamba anapoanzisha jambo hufuatilia na kulidhibitisha.
Yesu adhihirishwe katika miili yetu.
Jiunge na waombezi katika runinga ya Balozi kila siku kuanzia saa 10 hadi saa 12 asubuhi. Anza siku kwa kumwita Bwana, naye atasikia na kukufanikisha katika shughuli za siku. Nitamwita Bwana astahilie kusifiwa, hivyo nitaokoka na adui zangu. Katika shida zangu nilimwita Bwana, nam nikamlalamikia Mungu wangu, naye akaisikia sauti yangu hekaluni mwake. Kilio changu kikaingia masikioni mwake.
Welcome back to our second session. It's Youth Let's Talk Show, and we are looking at our generation, how healthy it is. And I'm sure so far you can evaluate yourself even as a youth. How healthy are you? What are you taking in? And in which measures, in which levels are you healthy? Have you ever thought even of just going to a health center, a health facility, and just do a checkup? just do a checkup to know whether you are, not that you are sick, but just to go and check how healthy you are. It's a challenge unto me and you this evening, and I know we are going to get more and more. And now there is this other second monster called HIV. You know, in the recent past, I think like a few years ago, we could see the way we were fighting this disease. We could see even organizations visiting schools. We could see dramas, this disease being dramatized on our televisions. We could see adverts still educating the generation, our generation concerning the same. But at the moment, we seem to have gone silent on the matter. Can we say that we have successfully fought the disease?
Thank you very much for that question. I'd say we have not successfully fought the disease. As much as you're saying, we've not really gone quiet. There's still advocacy, there's still a lot of ongoing work towards HIV. What I can say about HIV is that we've witnessed a lot of, I'd say, improvement, or we've seen the trend, the prevalence going down. When we compare our data from the national HIV estimates, when we look at the year 1996, our prevalence in the country was around 10.5%. But that trend, the prevalence has gone down up to, in the year 2021, from the recent estimates, we were at 4.5%.
Wow.
So I can say the curve has really been going down. It has gone down, and most people are now on treatment. Out of the 1.4 million people who are currently infected with HIV, 78% of that are on treatment. And when people are on treatment, the aim of treatment is to make the viral load, the virus suppressed in the body. When you attain a suppressed virus, you cannot transmit to another person. But as much as the prevalence has gone down, we are now experiencing a new trend in the HIV world. And these are the new infections, especially amongst our teenagers, age 24 and below. We have a lot of new infections that are happening, age 15 to 24. If I can just give you data on 2021 HIV estimates, adolescents aged 10 to 19 accounted for 5,294 HIV new infections. Every week we had a total of 98 cases getting new infections, and we had a total of estimated deaths amongst the teenagers to be 1,473. Every week we were losing 28 adolescents to HIV. So as much as we've fought HIV, we are still experiencing new trends, new infections happening, targeting our adolescents, age 10 to 24. And that has really brought a lot of work to go into that. We currently have a campaign called Triple Threat. Triple Threat, we are ending new HIV infections amongst the adolescents. We are targeting to end teenage pregnancies. I believe you are aware Bungoma is among the leading counties reporting teenage pregnancies. With teenage pregnancies, we know sex is involved. Where sex is involved, we have transmission of HIV happening. So we are targeting ending teenage pregnancies, and we are also targeting to end gender-based violence cases amongst our teenagers. When we look at gender-based violence data, also the mostly affected age under sexual and physical violence is 15 to 19 years. So HIV is still with us. New infections are coming in, but I'm happy most of the people have been put on treatment. But when you are doing 78%, we still have around 22% that are not on treatment. Yes. So we are now looking at how we can bring them on board, put everyone on treatment, and then we make sure they're suppressing the virus. That is where the challenge is. Because for you to suppress the virus, you must take your medication.
As prescribed.
I even don't know which word to use. You must take your medication as prescribed, adherence to medication, for us to achieve that. But good news is that when you're unsuppressed, you cannot transmit. There are so many ways of preventing HIV, and our youths, I know you know that, are the ABCDs that we have. So it's still a challenge with us, but we can overcome it. And for the ones who are already having HIV, treatment is the optimum goal. Take your medication religiously, and you will be well.
And you know, as you are talking, there is this myth that has been going around, especially amongst the youth, and they always say that, oh, we have less men, and therefore they came up with a norm that sharing is caring. Now, as a health practitioner, as a mother, as a servant of God, what can you tell this youth who is saying, oh, the men are few, so let us just share, and if we share, we care about each other?
Youths, who told you men are few? I'd prefer we share and care other matters. Let's share our food, let's share what we have out of goodwill. But what I can say to the youths, engaging into early sex comes with a lot of negative impact into your life. You start engaging in sex early, you contract HIV, you get pregnant. I did not say that most of these cancers, especially cancer of the cervix, one of the predisposing factors is early sexual debut. When you start sexual activities early, it predisposes you to cancer of the cervix. So why would you share if you know sharing is risky? And why would you share and you still have time? Your time has not reached. I believe as a servant of God, there is time for everything. What I usually tell the youths, it is good for you to enjoy your youth. This is the only time you have to enjoy. Ujana ni moshi, ukienda haurudi. Enjoy this time. The energy that you have, convert it into positive energy. You can do a lot with the energy that you have. But with the myths that are out there are other myths that if you don't start sex early, especially for the male child, they say that the sperms will accumulate somewhere, you'll become sick because of that. Those are myths and misconceptions. They are out there. Out of peer pressure, you are being misled. So kindly take charge of your life. With us witnessing a lot of teenage pregnancies, what I'm telling the youth, you have a right. By now, by the time a child is 10 years old, they know what is right and what is wrong. When you are going somewhere, when you are going into a bar, when you are taking alcohol, when you are engaging into drugs, you are smoking. Smoking is another predisposing factor to cancers, by the way. When you start smoking early, even cancer of the esophagus, the throat cancer that people see, smoking is one of the predisposing factors. So why should you do that if you know this is something that will land me into trouble? Yes.
And you know, I'm laughing because there is a viewer who is concerned that you're saying we should not start this sex early, and they are asking, how early is early?
How early is early?
Yeah.
How early is early? I believe, as a Christian, I believe you should not have sex until you get married. That is my belief, number one. But again, outside in this world, things are happening. You may want adolescents and teenagers to move in that direction, but the reverse happens. So to me, after 18 years, at least we consider you as an adult. Even by law, you can make an informed decision on your own. You can be responsible for your mistakes. If you have sex below 18 years, actually when we get the culprit, we call it defilement. We call it defilement because you are underage by law. And the perpetrator and even you can be prosecuted in the court of law. Because you are underage, it is defilement that has happened to you. So if you really must have sex, which is contrary to my belief, do it when you are in your right senses. You can make an informed decision. Prevention, ABCD, is abstain. Abstain, abstain, abstain is the song number one. But if you cannot abstain, we talk of being faithful. Initially, we used to say being faithful is happening to couples, people who are already married. But you can be faithful to yourself as a youth. You can be very faithful. Whatever you do, integrity, where you go, you are in college, what are you doing? Are you being faithful to yourself? Then C is use of condom. If you cannot really abstain, if you cannot be faithful to yourself, kabisa mwili imekataa imekupeleka mbio, and that is because of your mind. Talk out, talk to your colleagues, get someone you can talk to. Please don't end up in depression because of not talking. Yes.
Wow, thank you so much. We are being told it's time to take our break. It is getting very juicier and very sweeter, even though time is really fleeting. But stay tuned. We are right back after the short break.
The Serve International Ministries Kakamega invites you for the Encounter 2023 from 5th to 8th December as at 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. daily. The guest speaker will be Reverend Nyangao Ambrose of Parklands Baptist Church, Bishop J.B. Masinde of Deliverance Church Umoja, Bishop Isaka Wawire of Mbale Praise Center, and Bishop Mark Kegohi of JCC Kisumu. The guest singers will be Pastor Mike Ogutu, Pastor Mike Manoa, and Dr. Ipiana of Tanzania. The host will be Bishop Paul Ligono of Serve Church International Kakamega. All are welcome.
Welcome, it's our final session. It's Youth Let's Talk Show, and I know that you are being impacted, you are being shaped. Even our health really matters as Christian youth. And now, Mom, there is this notions, some of the churches, it sounds so weird, but they will tell you no going to hospital. If you are sick, just pray to Jehovah Rapha. He says in his word that by his wounds we are healed. So no going to hospital. Now, being a health practitioner and being a servant of God, can you shed some light on this notion?
Thank you for that. The issue of not going to hospital, as a health practitioner, of course I'll not agree with that. My view is this. God has given us knowledge and God has given us wisdom. And he truly says in his word, where there is no wisdom, people perish. So when you go to the hospital, does not mean you are not believing in God. We know God is the ultimate healer. He's the one who cures actually. And I believe by going to hospital, you've taken a step of faith. You've taken a step of faith. Because now you are seeking help from God through an intermediate medium. And it is the same God who gave wisdom to the health practitioners who are taking care of us. I take not going to hospital as an act of backwardness. There are some cults that have really taken us. They've really brainwashed us to not going to church. And they may watch. I have someone, She's out there, she's rolling in pain. You cannot even take her to hospital just to get a painkiller. So my view is this: take a step of faith, go to the hospital. God is the ultimate healer. He will use whatever means to heal you, but seek treatment. Yeah, it is just like maybe you are from the shamba, you've cut your limb, you've cut one of the major veins and you are really bleeding. Will you sit there and tell God, I want you to stop this bleeding? Miracles do happen, it can happen. But you are shedding blood, you are going to suffer blood. What are you supposed to do concerning your health? So I believe, take a step of faith, go to the hospital. God ultimately cures. God is our healer. Yes.
Actually, some of the hospitals, I see them writing,
yes,
retreat, but God
heals.
So we should take just, and even some of the young ones,
yes.
And you have been in charge, you have interacted with the young generation. Can you just give a motherly advice, maybe giving a message of hope, alerting us on which pitfalls this generation get back to being healthy?
Thank you so much. Before I give my advice, I really want to thank you for this opportunity. It has really come in timely when we are commemorating the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence. Actually, we are launching it officially tomorrow, and it will run for 16 days from 25th of November to 11th of December. Just commemorating and making sure we are creating awareness. We are stopping violence against women. You are the first doctor to yourself, because you are the one who understands how you feel. You are the ones who understand how your body is ailing. So whenever you have a problem and you're feeling not well, kindly talk, kindly seek help, kindly seek treatment. It is very, very important. Then our youths, I think God has given you this time. He has given you this privilege. Remember, you are born as a small child. You've reached this age of teenage. God has given you this opportunity. I know there's a lot of peer pressure. There's a lot of peer influence. There's a lot of media interference. There's a lot of interference around us from every corner. Everything, there'll be time for everything in your life. If you are studying right now, any positive things that you can do. And remember, for the ones who've come from colleges, you may not get your job immediately, but get something to do. There's a lot that you can do out there, in terms of charity, in terms of helping, in terms of work. I also want to remember a youth who has fallen into a trap, into a pitfall. There are teenage girls who are out there who are pregnant. There are teenage girls and boys who've become HIV positive. There are those ones who are into drugs. I want to tell you that there is hope. It is not the end of you. You can fall, but you can rise, wipe the mud, and move on. If you are pregnant, do not procure to all of that. We will build a very healthy nation. Thank you.
Thank you so much. What a challenge unto us. And I picked this one when she finally gave us a parting shot, that you might fall, but wipe the mud, pick yourself up, and move on.
Exactly.
What a challenge, quick and a healthy lifestyle. God bless you. See you.